Can you go left about a foot, please? All right, today we're going to talk about scientific notation. You're going to be given numbers and you're going to be asked to write them in scientific notation. Then you're going to be given numbers in scientific notation. You're going to be asked to write them in standard notation. And then you're going to be multiplying and dividing numbers in scientific notation. So, a number is in scientific notation when in the form a times 10 to the n. And that is where a, where 1 is less than a, and a is less than 10. So it's got to be greater than 1, greater than or equal to 1, and less than 10. The first number has to be greater than or equal to 1 and less than 10. And n is a whole number. Meaning the 10 has to be raised to a power, and the power just has to be a whole number. But there has to be a number there. So in the first part of your assignment today, you're going to be asked to, it'll say, what is each number written in scientific notation? And you'll be given a number. And maybe that number... Oh, my bad. How far? Okay. That's an n. 10 to the nth power. Everybody caught up? So if you're given a number, let's say the number is 36,000. Okay? This is standard notation. The way you're used to seeing a number. If you've got to write it in scientific notation, this number 36,000 has a decimal place right here. Agreed? If it's not given, it's at the end. So what you've got to do is you've got to rewrite this so that your first number is between 1 and 10. So this decimal place has to get moved 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left, doesn't it? When you move the decimal 4 places to the left, then this 36,000 becomes 3.6. It's got to be multiplied by 10. And the 10 has to be raised to a power. Now, if you move the decimal to the left 1, 2, 3, 4 times, then the power becomes a 4. If the number that you start out with is larger than 1, then your power of 10 has to be positive. Okay? If the number you start off with is larger than 1, then your power has to be positive. If you're given a number like 0.00034, okay? This number is less than 1, so you got to move the decimal place right here. You got to move it 1, 2, 3, 4 times again. So you rewrite this number as 3.45 times 10. And now, since this decimal, since the number you started with was less than 1, your power has to be negative. So this is times negative, times 10 to the negative 4th power. Negative 54 million. It's a big number. Okay? So if you start off with a negative number, then your A has to be a negative number as well. So this decimal place is going to get moved, look, 3, 6, 7 places. So this becomes negative 5.4 times 10. The number you started with is greater than 1, so your power's got to be positive, and you moved it 3, 6, you moved it 7 places. So let's write this down. This is real important. Real important. If the number in standard notation is greater than 1, then the power must be positive. If your number is a decimal that you start with, it's less than 1, you got to have a negative power. If actually the absolute value of the number you start with is greater than 1, you got to have a positive power. So 0.36, not 36, we've done that twice. Let's go 0.1298. All right? To write this in scientific notation, you're going to move the decimal to the right 1 place. So this becomes 1.298 times 10. And since the number you started with is less than 1, this has to be a negative 1 right here. You only move the decimal 1 place. Second part of the assignment. You're going to be asked to write each number in standard notation. So 6.3 times 10 to the 5th power. The easiest way to do this is to take the number, the 6.3, and just rewrite it without the decimal. So take 6.3 and rewrite it without the decimal. So it's going to be 6 and a 3. Put your pencil where the decimal is. And since this 5 is positive, it's got to move to the right 5 places. So you take your pencil and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right. And then you fill in these little cups with zeros. So that's the number written in standard notation. And then every 3 you're going to put a comma. So there's your comma. 630,000. If you're starting off with a negative, if you got negative 4.83 times 10 to the negative 2, follow the same procedure. Write the number that's given without the decimal. Now, don't forget to bring this negative sign with you. So you got a negative sign. And now you're going to be moving this decimal place to the left, so leave yourself some room. So go 4, 8, 3. And put your pencil where the decimal place is, right here. Now, since this number is a negative power, we've got to go to the left 2 places. So we're going 1, 2 places. There's where your decimal goes, and you fill the little cup in with a 0. .64 times 10 to the negative 4th power. If the power of 10 is negative, when you rewrite this number, make sure you leave yourself some room to put the zeros to the left of the number. So you're going to rewrite this as 964. Go and put your pencil where the decimal is. And which way are we going, right or left? Left, good. So we're going left 1, 2, 3, 4 places. And we're filling in with zeros. All right, the third part of your assignment today is going to be multiply third part of the assignment is going to be, you're going to be asked to multiply or divide then write the answer in standard form. All right, so a multiplication problem will look something like 5.85 times 10 to the second in parentheses, and then in your other set of parentheses, 6.34 times 10 to the negative third. Make it negative fourth. The first step is going to be to multiply the A's. All right? So your first step is to multiply the 5.85 times 6.34. All right? So we're going to do 5.85 times 6.34. And round it 2 decimal places, please. So 5.85 times 6.34. And you get 37 point. Anybody do it? $37.09. 37.09 times 10. Now, when you multiply 10 squared times 10 to the negative fourth, you add the powers. Okay? So write this down, when multiplying exponents, add the powers. All right, when you're multiplying exponents, you need to add the powers. So this is going to be times 10 to the 2 plus negative 4 power. 2 plus negative 4 power. And what's 2 plus negative 4? That's negative 2. All right? That's not in standard form, is it? Write the answer in scientific notation and standard form. So you got to write this number now in scientific notation. This decimal place has to be moved because this first number's got to be between 1 and 10. So look, this becomes 3.709. We're going to move the decimal 1 to the left. Okay? Times 10. Now, did we make this number right here bigger or smaller? We made it smaller, right? You took it from 37 to 3.7. So you made it smaller. If you make the number smaller, you have to make the power bigger. So this goes 10 to the negative first. So there's your number in scientific notation. And now it's got to be written in standard form. So when you write 3.709 times 10 to the negative 1 in standard form, you go 3.709. You put your pencil where the decimal is, and you move it 1 to the left because your power is negative 1. So we're taking it from here, and we're putting it right here. So here's the number in scientific notation. Here's the number in standard form. So when you're multiplying numbers in scientific notation, the first step is to just multiply the 2 decimals. And then the second step is to add the powers. Once you've done that, you can adjust where the decimal is, and you adjust the power. When you are dividing Let's say you got 3.5 times 10 to the third, and it's being divided by 4.36 times 10 to the fifth. Your first step is to divide the decimals. So take 3.5 and divide it by 4.36. And you should get 0.80. That's going to be times 10. All right, and then make a note over here. When dividing exponents, subtract the powers. Okay, so this 3.5 divided by 4.36 is 0.8 times 10, and you're going to take your 3 minus 5 power. All right, and 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Now, this number has to be put in scientific notation. So the decimal has to go 1 to the right. So this becomes 8.0 times 10. If you make this first number bigger, you got to make your power smaller. So this becomes negative 3. So that's it in scientific notation. The next step is to write it in standard notation. So this would be scientific right here. So take your 8.0 times 10 to the negative 3 and write your 8.0 without the decimal. Put your pencil where the decimal goes, and you're going to move it to the left 1, 2, 3 places. You can fill in these 2 cups with zeros. So here's your number in standard notation.